Hello everybody and welcome to Data Engineering Stuff, your highly opinionated data engineering channel. Do you remember your last decisions you made when you worked on a data engineering topic? So you have always this little decision, some trade-offs which you face. So you have to make this little decisions in which direction your work is going. I've lined out some of them, which perhaps you just currently faced. For example, one thing is always you have some trade-off between the time you are spending on a task and the cost that the infrastructure produces. Okay, sounds a bit weird in the first place, but if you think about it, it's like optimizing things from a data engineering perspective is always time consuming. For example, you could figure out the really optimal instance type for your virtual machine running some job. Perhaps you could also optimize your SQL query so you don't have to do that much in Python and Pandas. So it's always a trade-off between, do you say, I'm really fast done with my work, and perhaps therefore, okay, the virtual machine is not that optimal, it's perhaps a bit oversized, and the virtual machine is running 24/7, and I'm doing much of my data wrangling in Python, which could be done faster and easier in SQL. Perhaps the database I'm already paying, so it doesn't matter in regarding infrastructure cost. So you have to make this decision all the time. How many time do you spend on optimizing for infrastructure cost? Another thing that you might have faced already today is how much should I go into detail regarding the precision of, for example, a library you are providing for data analysts and data scientists. Perhaps you have a really complex data platform and you deliver a library to your data scientists and data analysts, and they could just easily work with your data. But perhaps some of them have more elaborate use case, and they want a bit more precision. So they just don't want like send a SQL query to A and B. They want some complex joins to do, perhaps even over different database types, like perhaps a MongoDB and a Postgres, and they want to join that together. And yes, you have to really wrangle things together for them. So you always have to choose between, do you make things really simple or really precise? Do you provide an API with like 7 parameters which can really be fine-tuned by a power user, or do you do something which is really easy to use and really simple? The next decision you could have is between having low effort, meaning consuming less time, or doing something really robust. Imagine a job you are writing which is perhaps not that critical, or you don't know really how critical it is. It's just a job running, and yes, there are many possible things that could go wrong, but you have to decide, do I make this thing really bulletproof, robust, that I catch every exception? There's really a detailed exception for everything that happens. I have made many paths in the code that verify the data after doing something. So it's always a trade-off between a highly robust thing I'm doing and low effort. Of course, if you're just programming something, you just write it down and you just run it, put it into production, that's not a really big effort. The last thing that could perhaps happen is, there's a trade-off between correctness and performance sometimes. For example, you could write a query that is really fast, or perhaps you could just get data via Python, so you just get like hundreds or thousands of data, like from the whole big table you're getting data from. But perhaps that is not that transaction proof. So perhaps it would be better to invest more time and more computing power to first stage the data into another table within a transaction, which is more effort, it's more cost, but it's more correct. So there are always these little decisions you have to do, and these were only 4 examples. I think if we talk longer about that, I would say at least in one working day you are doing like 50 to 60 of these decisions all the time. And yes, there are even other things, like you could also say low effort to performance could be a thing, readability to performance is a thing, though there are many trade-offs you make every day. And yeah, how do you handle that? And I think, whether explicitly or not, you are handling this via data strategy. So imagine all of these little decisions you do every day is a crossroad. So you can either go right or left. You can always decide which way you are going. For example, your first decision is like low effort or robustness. So you're here, and now you can think of where do I go? Do I go here? Do I go here? And perhaps a straight line, so I do the middle of both. And that's where your data strategy comes in. Imagine your data strategy is Google Maps for your little decisions, or even for your big decisions every day. Because your data strategy says to you, we have to go fast. We don't care about correctness or robustness. We have to move fast. We get an MVP running. We are a startup. We want to really put that product into production as fast as we can. Okay, that would be perhaps this way and this way. But in another company, perhaps, there is a product in place which is really the only one on the market, and yeah, there's not that much innovation, so it's all about cost optimization. They don't want you to deliver something really fast. They want to highly automate things you have, to operate things which the least amount of people involved. They want to have it the most cost-saving way it can get. So perhaps your way could be down here. So your data strategy is your Google Maps through this crossroads. And perhaps you have some implicit data strategy and not like written down 100 slides data strategy on PowerPoint or something like that. But I want to know, how do you use data strategy? Have you some implicit data strategy in your brain where you base your decisions on, or do you have something explicitly written, or do you think this is completely nonsense? I have no data strategy. I don't need any data strategy. I'm just doing my job every day. So feel free to comment, and I'm happy if you share, like, or subscribe. Thank you.